Tonight, a 16-year-old debater named Nia stands in a narrow hallway in Nairobi, facing a mirror that's been cleaned too many times with the same damp cloth. The light is a little yellow. The walls are quiet. She lifts her chin and whispers the first line of her opening statement. It's not loud, it's barely there, but the moment she hears it, her shoulders tighten like she's been caught doing something embarrassing. She tries again. Honorable judges, and then she flinches, not at the words, but at the fact that she's talking to herself at all. Try this first before you judge the voice. Ask one question: what job is it trying to do? Because in the next few minutes, her self-talk flips like a switch. 1 second it's coaching, slow down, breathe. One sentence at a time. The next second it's attacking, you're going to choke, everyone will see it. Same mouth, same brain, two different uses of the same tool. Tomorrow is the tournament, tonight is the rehearsal. And in between is the part nobody sees, the voice in your head and sometimes out loud narrating your life like it has a microphone. On screen, 3 evidence tags flash: scanner questions, sleepedge file, red tag rule. This isn't a lecture about being positive, it's a case file. We're going to sort what's normal, what's useful, what's a bad habit, and what needs support right away. Small win to keep in your pocket. Helpful self-talk gives you a next step. Harmful self-talk gives you a verdict. And early in this case file, there's one question that decides which direction everything goes. Not a complicated question, not a trick. One question first, everything else second. A folder slides onto the table. Case 41, the voice before the match. Nia is the subject, but the case is bigger than her because almost everyone has some version of this voice. People call it self-talk, inner dialogue, inner monologue, inner speech. Different labels, same basic thing talking to you. Nia's first mistake happens at 2 a.m. She's sitting on her bed with her notes on her knees, rehearsing a rebuttal and keeping her voice low so she doesn't wake anyone. She gets to a tricky line and pauses. The pause is normal, the pause is part of practice. But her brain treats the pause like evidence. You can't do this, the voice says. She tries to answer it with effort, more repetition, more pressure. She pushes harder, the voice pushes back harder. One safe move right here: when a thought shrinks your options, label the style bully. That label matters because it changes what you do next. If you treat the voice like truth, you obey it. If you treat it like a tool, you adjust it. And if it feels unfamiliar, frightening, out of control, or unsafe, you choose support over guessing. Here's the baseline that's easy to miss. An ongoing stream of inner talk is a common human process. It can be helpful, it can also be harsh. Common doesn't automatically mean problem, and harsh doesn't automatically mean danger. So instead of asking, is this normal, we're going to ask a different question: which lane should this go in? Picture an airport luggage system. Every bag enters the building, it gets scanned, it gets tagged, then it goes onto the belt that leads to the right place. Your thoughts can work the same way, not because you're a machine, but because you need a simple way to sort a crowded mind. We'll use 5 quick yes or no gates and route the thought onto one of 4 lanes: coach, bully, sleepedge, red tag. A simple rule that keeps you honest: route by function, not by vibe. Gate 1 is important, but it's not a clean boundary. Do you recognize it as your own inner voice, your mind talking to you? That's a useful clue. It is not a "you're fine" / "you're not fine" test. What matters more than any single gate is distress, control, and safety. So here's the safer version. If it feels unfamiliar, scary, out of control, or it's pushing you toward harm, tell a trusted adult and get professional support. Gate 2, is it helping you act or freezing you? Gate 3, can you shift it with a small script, or does it feel intrusive and unstoppable? Gate 4, is the timing tied to sleep edges, falling asleep or waking up? Timing is a clue, not a verdict. Gate 5, any safety content, harm, commands, immediate danger, or sudden severe confusion? If yes, this is not a work on yourself moment. This is a red tag moment. Now we make it practical, because a system only matters if it survives real life. Imagine 2 people using out loud self-talk in the same day. In a warehouse, a worker moves fast between aisles. The place is loud. Forklifts beep. The worker says quietly, "Aisle 7, bin 4, label green." It's not a breakdown, it's a navigation system. Now cut to a crowded elevator. A student stands shoulder to shoulder with strangers and starts whispering a full argument to themselves, not realizing how loud they are. Same behavior, different setting. The point isn't shame. The point is fit. Quick win: if you're using out loud self-talk, match it to the setting, quiet, brief, and appropriate. Back to the belts. Coach lane first. Coach voice isn't hype, it's not "you're amazing." It's usually quieter than that, it's specific. It uses verbs, it gives you something you can do in the next minute. A fast test: coach voice sounds like verbs: start, breathe, write one line. Nia doesn't need a speech about confidence. She needs a script small enough to fit inside a stressful moment. So we give her a tool card called Next Step in 30 Seconds. Here's how it works. Pick one action you can do in half a minute, not a life plan, not a personality change. One action, then stop. For Nia, it's this: one sentence only, then stop. She says it out loud once, just once. One sentence only, then she reads one sentence, then she stops on purpose. Stress loves momentum. It tries to turn practice into a sprint, but she's training the belt, not feeding the loop. Try this when you get stuck. If you can't name the next step, you're not coaching, you're looping. Now we add an optional tool. Optional stays optional. Sometimes referring to yourself by name can create a little emotional space. Nia, one sentence only. In controlled lab tasks, researchers have found that third-person self-talk, using your name instead of I, can be linked to lower emotional reactivity markers without extra effortful control. It's not a promise about your life. It's a moment tool you can test. So the rule is simple: try it once. If it helps, keep it. If it doesn't, drop it. Now we switch to the bully lane. The bully lane is not a demon. It's not a second person living inside you. It's a learned thinking style, often louder when you're tired, stressed, or trying to predict the worst to feel prepared. On screen, tiles flip like a pattern gallery. Filtering, catastrophizing, should statements, magnifying, personalizing. These are common forms of negative self-talk described in mainstream health guidance, not as identity labels, but as shapes your thoughts can take. Here's catastrophizing in teen-safe form. Nia misses one word and her brain jumps. The whole debate is ruined. Here's should: you should be better by now. It doesn't give instruction, it delivers a verdict. Here's filtering. She remembers one awkward pause and filters out 10 strong points. Here's magnifying. A minor problem becomes the main character. A quick sort that reduces shame. If the thought turns one moment into a life sentence, route it to bully. And then we do a mini check that avoids diagnosis and avoids therapy speak. Instead of asking "what's wrong with me," ask one functional question. Is this helping me act? Because a thought can be true and still be useless in the moment. This is hard might be true and useful if it leads to a next step. You always fail is usually not true and almost never useful. So we reroute. Tag it bully. Convert verdict into instruction. Next step for 30 seconds. Do it once, then stop. If the voice tries to pull you into a long argument, that's a different problem. That's the loop. Some people don't just get one harsh sentence. They get a spinner: repeat, 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 same topic, no new action. Researchers often describe a broader pattern called repetitive negative thinking, which overlaps with worry and rumination. You don't need the label to use the idea, you just need to spot the behavior. The mind repeats, but nothing gets built. Try this distinction: looping repeats the same thought. Solving produces one new step. And now we plant the second open loop because Nia has a moment that scares her. At 3:10 a.m., she finally drifts. Her notes slide onto the floor. Her eyes are half closed. And she hears something, not a full sentence, not a conversation, just a brief, odd phrase that doesn't match the room. She opens her eyes, sits up. Her heart starts racing. We freeze the frame and stamp the folder, sleep edge file. One safe move here: some experiences belong to the sleep file, not the identity file. This is where content can get irresponsible if it tries to be dramatic, so we slow down. Sleep edge hallucination-like experiences can happen at the border of sleep, while falling asleep or waking up, and context matters. Cleveland Clinic describes sleep-related hallucinations in that doorway and notes they're often not a cause for concern, but that frequent or distressing experiences should be discussed with a healthcare provider. NHS guidance also notes that hallucinations can sometimes be temporary and can happen when you're very sleep-deprived, very hungry, have a high temperature, have migraines, or in that doorway of waking up or falling asleep. Again, not ignore everything, sort by timing and take distress seriously, so the responsible move is not panic, it's documentation. Log the timing, sleep edge or daytime, check basics, sleep loss, stress. If it's distressing, frequent, or feels out of control, talk to a qualified professional. A simple line that keeps you grounded, timing is a clue, not a verdict. There's also an optional branch here, and it's only a branch. Some sleep phenomena appear alongside other sleep symptoms in medical descriptions of sleep conditions. That does not mean a viewer has anything. It means if sleep symptoms start stacking, daytime sleepiness, disrupted sleep, vivid sleep edge experiences, it's worth discussing with a professional instead of guessing in private. Now we take the skeptical counterpoint seriously because a smart viewer might feel a pushback right here. Isn't all this just self-obsession? Shouldn't we stop talking to ourselves? Fair. And it's not answered by shouting self-love at people. Here's the honest response. Sometimes the goal isn't more inner talk. Sometimes the goal is less time on the wrong lane. The bully lane can keep you stuck. The loop can steal hours. The answer isn't forced silence. The answer is useful thought at the right time in the right size. Try this reframe. The target isn't no thoughts. The target is useful thoughts. Back to Nia for the mid-course correction. A bully line hits. You're not ready? She doesn't argue for 10 minutes. She doesn't write a diary about it. She roots it. Bully. Then she replies with instruction. Nia, one sentence only. She reads one sentence. Then she stops. She packs her bag. She drinks water. She sets an alarm. Small actions that create traction. One safe move that works in real life. When bully shows up, answer with instruction, one step, then stop. Now the third loop, and this one is serious. We cut to a crowded station. A person stands in line, scanning pockets. Wallet, ticket, exit 3, normal checklist voice, and then suddenly something unsafe appears. We stop the video's momentum on purpose. A red stamp hits the screen, red tag. Some thoughts don't get coached, they get escalated. If there's immediate danger, if you or someone else could be harmed, get urgent help now using your local emergency number or emergency services. NHS urgent guidance on hallucinations emphasizes emergency action when someone is in immediate danger. Cleveland Clinic also flags that command hallucinations, especially those involving harm, require immediate help. No coping trick outranks safety. One safe line to remember: if safety is involved, don't handle it alone. Now we do the fast visual recap, not the long repeating one. 3 sample lines appear. Next step. 10 minutes of practice. Coach, you always fail. Bully, a voice is telling me to hurt myself or someone else. Red tag, a small win that makes the system usable. Label the lane, then take one safe action. And now the interactive moment. Pause for a second and root this sentence. You should be better by now. That word, should, often arrives with shame and zero instruction. It's a classic bully shape in negative self-talk patterns described in health guidance. So the move is not to debate it, the move is to convert it. Verdict becomes instruction. Next step, one sentence for 30 seconds. Now the final return to Nia, debate day. She's in a hallway again, but this time it's a school hallway buzzing with other students. She hears laughter down the corridor and her brain tries to interpret it as threat. A bully line rises. They're laughing at you. She scans it. Recognized as her thought, but she still checks function. Does it help her act? Number, does it freeze her? Yes. Can she shift it with a small script? Yes. So she roots it. Bully. Then she answers with instruction, quietly, like she's coaching a teammate standing next to her. Nia, one sentence only. She walks into the room. She starts her opening. Halfway through, she stumbles on a word. Her face warms. The old system would have spiraled. The new system roots. Coach, breathe, keep going. One sentence, then the next. She doesn't become a different person. She becomes a person with a better routing system. Try this in your own moments. Recovery beats perfection. One rooted thought can restart motion. Emphasis, and this is the documentary truth we land on. Self-talk isn't automatically good or bad. It's a human process. It can be a tool for focus and stress management. It can become a harsh habit. And sometimes it can point to something that needs professional attention. Safer self-talk stays recognized, optional, and functional. When it stops feeling optional, when it feels out of control, deeply distressing, or unsafe, the safest move is support, not improvisation. Now we keep the promise. A 7-day experiment, not a cure, not a replacement for professional care. A clean, small test to strengthen your coach lane and make routing easier. Day 1, capture 2 minutes. You write down 3 exact lines you said to yourself today, not the whole story, just 3 lines. Then you tag them, coach or bully, no shame, just labels. A quick win that keeps it simple. If it's instruction, it's coach. If it's a verdict, it's bully. Day 2, pattern spot. You take 1 bully line and name the shape, filtering, catastrophizing, should, magnifying, then you rewrite it into instruction. Next step for 30 seconds. No arguing. No courtroom, just change the script. Day 3, the 30-second practice. Pick 1 recurring moment before sleep, before school, before practice. When the voice appears, you run the smallest coach script you can. Next step. For 30 seconds, then stop. If it drags you into a fight, label it loop, not me, and return to the step. Small win, you're not trying to win an argument, you're trying to create traction. Day 4, name use test, optional. Once you try your name, Nia 1 sentence, or your own name. If it helps, keep it. If it feels weird or useless, drop it. Day 5, sleep edge check. If anything unusual happens at the edge of sleep, you tag it sleep edge and you log the timing. Falling asleep, waking up, or fully awake. If it's distressing, frequent, or you feel out of control, you plan to talk to a qualified professional. You don't dramatize it. You don't self-diagnose. You gather information and choose the safer route. A quick win that prevents panic. Timing first, meaning second. Day 6, public setting plan. You decide what quiet self-talk looks like when you're around others. Maybe it's a silent checklist. Maybe it's 1-word cues. Maybe it's a note on your phone. Same tool, safer packaging. Day 7, review day. You look back and circle the 1 script that actually helped you act, just 1. You put it on a card. Next step for 30 seconds, then stop. That's the card you carry into the next week. This video is educational, not medical advice or a diagnosis. If you're worried about symptoms or anything feels unsafe or out of your control, talking to a qualified professional is the right move. And we end where the case file began, a mirror, a voice, and a choice. If your voice is recognized and functional, it can be a teammate. If it's harsh but changeable, it can be retrained into instruction. If it shows up at sleep edges, it can be filed without panic and checked if needed. And if it involves safety, it gets a red tag and you get help immediately. Scan it, tag the lane, then take 1 safe next step.